Rafael Abdana, Dean of PBS and University of Tunis, and His Excellency Yuichi Takahara, Ambassador of Japan in Tunis, and to the students and ladies and gentlemen, and good morning and assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to make a lecture in this very beautiful and very good university. And I'm very happy to make a presentation about this title. So, what lessons can be learned from rapid growth and stagnation of Japan's economy? So I'm going to talk about why Japan grew very rapidly and why it is stagnating, and the possible implications to unity. I'm going to talk about Japan's economy in the context of East Asia miracle and East Asian economic growth. So this is about where is Japan? This is East Asian countries. Here is Japan, and this is a country, very small island. So there is some similarities to the countries in Tunisia. And yes, this is about economic growth in Japan. And just after World War II, our economy grew quite rapidly. So, for instance, during the 1960s and 70s, so especially in the 90s, the real GDP annual growth rate is around 10 to 15%. This is quite rapid. This is quite comparative to current China economic growth. However, it is stagnated around 5%, but still high during the 70s. However, what we call is just lost 2 decades. So during past 20 years, our economy is quite stagnated. Our GDP is getting quite rapidly growing and reach $5 trillion US dollars. However, it is currently the last 2 decades quite stagnated. And nowadays, our economy becomes just number 3, US and China and Japan. So it used to be our second largest economy, but now becomes third. So I would like to explain why Japan grew rapidly and why it is stagnating currently. And in order to make presentation more clearly, I raised such research questions. So, at first is the general issues on economic growth. So, what explains the rapid economic growth and current stagnation of Japanese economy in the context of East Asian experience? And second issue is sector specific. And in favor of Tunisia, olive oil, I would like to explain issues about olive development, olive oil sector. And the research question is, what is the impact of Tunisian olive oil on Japanese consumers? What's the impact on Japanese Tunisian olive oil in it for Japanese market? And there's one small island called Sotoshima. There's a small island where producing olive and olive oil in Japan. And then the question is how Sotoshima, Japan develops olive oil and new olive related products. These questions I would like to raise in this lecture and try to answer. Then the important thing is what are the possible implications to Tunisia. In order to answer these questions, I listed some hypotheses for the general issues on economic growth. Maybe possible hypothesis is first is population bonus and population bonus. So this is the current topic about to explain the economic growth from the point of population changes. Second point is selective intervention to market. So this is a little bit about not laissez-faire approach, but more interventionist approach. Maybe this point is the key to develop, key to understand rapid growth in East Asian countries. in this sense, Adam Smith's sense, it is not due to the invisible hand. Black visible hand is more important in the context of East Asian and Japan economic growth. And third hypothesis is dynamic international linkage of production. So I explained the development of international linkage among East Asian countries, not just Japan, but also international linkage of production. And fourth hypothesis is technological progress and innovation. This is also very important to discuss what is the factor, what is the source of growth, and what is the source of technological progress. And then I explain the specific issues in olive oil sector. In this discussion, the impact of information on quality and the healthy attribute of Tunisian olive oil is significant. This is also hypothesis. And new idea by combination regarding produce new olive oil products also shows some key to development in olive oil sector in Tunisia and olive oil sector in Japan. So these hypotheses I'm going to show in this lecture. Then let me divide my lecture into possibly 5 parts for many issues, but try to summarize just 1 hour and 15 minutes in this issue. Participation, rapid transition and population bonus. This is also an engine of economic growth in East Asian countries. Second issue is fundamental policies and selective intervention. We say selective intervention policies is somewhat visible. And third is technological progress. This is a source of economic growth in East Asia. And to sector-specific issues, the fourth point is development of olive oil sector. And the last thing is just I want to explain about our research activities in Tunisia, our center, Alliance for Research on North Africa, activities in Tunisia, and possible collaboration with your university. Then let me looking at the first issue. Demographic transition and population bonus. Do you know, maybe you have studied about theory of demographic transition. So this theory tells us how population changes from the point of birth rate, death rate, and natural population increase rate. The first stage is high rate of population, high birth rate, and high death rate. In this sense, natural population growth rate remains very low rate. And it runs into second phase, high birth rate and low death rate. So it means death rate starts decreasing. And third phase is birth rate starts decreasing and natural population rate starts decreasing. And last phase is the low birth rate and low death rate. So the natural population growth rate becomes very low level. So all countries, including Africa and North Africa, is transit with this phase. First and the first, second, and third, and fourth phase. Next week. So in the first phase here, birth rate is very high and death rate is also high. In this sense, natural population growth rate stays low. However, birth rate remains very high, but death rate starts declining. In this sense, natural rate of population growth starts increasing. This is second phase. And a lot of countries who experiencing a population explosion is there in the second phase. And third phase comes when birth rates start decreasing. And the death rates start also, death rates continue to decline, then natural population growth rates start decreasing. This is third phase. And fourth phase is both birth rate and death rate is very low. In this sense, national population growth rate is low. So most developed countries like Japan and European countries may be in the fourth phase. We are struggling with problems facing old aging society and old age society. However, many developed countries, developing countries, still in the third phase and second phase and transiting to third phase. Then, natural population growth rate is going up, then going down. Next picture. So this is the demographic transition in Japan from 1899 up to present. The blue line is birth rate, and the red line is death rate. Next please. So this is the first phase, and then next please. This is second phase. Then next please. And this is the third phase. Here you can see the birth rate stayed high, but death rate starts decreasing. And in the third phase, birth rate starts decreasing, and death rate continues to decline. And nowadays, our number of population starts decreasing. Okay? And this is also Japan's demographic transition. And in the process of transition from first to fourth phase, population from 0 to 14, 0 to 14 years old, young generation is start declining, and then working age population from 15 to 64 is increasing like this, and the population age more than 65 is start increasing. So in this from transition to second to third, there is a bonus fund, what we call population bonus. In the current view, conventional view of development economics, capital accumulation and growth are absorbed by rapidly growing population that result in low equilibrium trap. And in this sense, main challenge is to reduce surplus labor in traditional sector to be absorbed in the modern sector. So in the conventional view, so surplus labor due to rapid population growth, especially in the second phase, is negative factor for economic development. However, from the point of population bonus and population dividends, in the population economics considers decreasing birth rate in the third phase, and dependency rate reduce burden to household. And decreasing birth rate result in an increase in the ratio of working age population from year 15 to 64. So this is a chance to grow rapidly. So in this sense, surplus labor due to the rapid population growth in the second phase is a kind of a positive impact in the factor to economic development. So from transition to second to third, there is a bonus. So a lot of countries grew during the population bonus term. For instance, in this population bonus period, rate of working age population is growing. And then population bonus will end, then dependence ratio of all generations start increasing. So the old aging and old aging period will come. So during this period, there is some policy need to grow in order to sustain the economy. And this is a comparison of East Asia and other regions. And as you know, East Asian countries developed from 70s and 80s and 90s. And during this period, where we can observe the rapid economic growth in East Asian countries, coincide with increasing in working age population like this